Alrighty, folks, welcome back to the Hidden Agenda. This is going to be part two on whatever today is, the second, March 2nd, 2026. Like I said, Blake Mitchell's with me now. I hope you guys tuned in to hear Mark James.
Solid
Mark,
candidate.
yeah, Mark speaks his mind. I like that. Heck, I enjoy having conversations with him. Anyway, we're going to take and we're going to talk to you about this. I know there's been a lot of conversation about what's going on with the Republican bona fide status.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get in here and talk about this some, because we've gone in here. Blake actually, he is running. He's running as an independent,
Right.
not on the Republican ticket.
That's right.
So Blake has pulled the voters list because, heck, this is candidates that's going against him. If they're not bona fide, he shouldn't be on the ballot, which he wouldn't have to worry about them transferring into the general. So, this is,
Yeah.
in case anybody asks, this is for political purposes, what the
Yeah.
list were used for. But what we've done here is we've gone back through and have broken down everything about the bona fide status. Now, what I want to do here is, before we get in here, I want to explain to you what the bona fide status is. And actually, you know what? We're going to back up even more.
Yeah,
Let's
let's
talk
read
about
the-
elections.
Well, that, and let's talk about what the law reads. Let's
Yeah,
explain
yeah.
that
So-
word for word.
So let's understand how elections work. This year there will be 2 Republican primaries.
Yep.
In even years that happens. You get 2 Republican primaries. So they go back through the last 4 Republican primaries. So like right now, what they go back through is, I'm sorry, it's in a 4-year stagger is when it's out, when you get 2 elections in a year. But August 2024, there was a Republican general election in the county of Henderson. In Henderson County, there was a Republican general election in August. What that was from the candidates who came back up from the May general election. So every Republican there has to go forward to the general election. So August 2024 was also a primary for the state Republicans.
That's right.
So, and then there may have been, actually there would have been
Three.
the federal candidates too. So what happens is they're looking at primaries, not just local but state and federal positions as well.
Yeah.
So here's how we had to look at this thing here. We had to go back to August of 2020, which, just to let you that's getting us back into last presidential election. Then we got August 2022, May 2024, August 2024. I believe is how all of the. I'm going to
Republican
verify that
primaries.
they're all the Republican primaries.
Yeah.
Give me just 1 second here. I got to take.
And just kind of elaborate too, explain. It is just to see which paper they picked up, whether they voted for, they picked up a primary for the Republican Party, or they picked up a primary for the Democrat Party, right?
Right.
That's it. It's not to see that who you actually voted for in that or anything like that. Just to make it clear for people. I know some people are like, "How can you see who I voted for?" We can't see at all who you voted for.
Right, yeah, you can't tell who you voted for by no means. It's
Yeah.
just whether you voted in that primary,
That's
yes or no.
correct. Yeah.
So, and actually, let me get these dates right here. It is the last Republican primary was August 1st, 2024.
Yeah.
The one before that would have been March 5th, 2024. Then the one before that would have been August 4th, 2022, and the one before that, May 3rd, 2022.
Yeah.
So those are the 4 that we have to look at here. So we're going to sit here and come back in and get back up into this thing here. So understand, this year there are actually 2 Republican primaries.
Yes.
We're going
For
to have
local and then the state.
right. The locals is what's going to be held May 5th.
Yeah.
And what will happen on May 5th is not every candidate will be in that election.
That's right.
Blake will not be in the election on May 5th.
That's right.
Because he's running independent. So therefore, what happens is Blake will take and run. Whoever wins the Republican mayor's race in May will have to face Blake in the general election because he's running as an independent.
That's correct.
So understand, a primary is for a party.
Yeah.
This election that happens in May is strictly for the Republican Party. It's not for independents. It's not for Democrats. Independents and Democrats do not have primaries in Henderson County. I don't know. I'm assuming there's some. There's got to be some in the state somewhere.
Yes, and I say in other states.
You know, I'm assuming that probably other counties, maybe, especially when you get into like
Larger than
Nashville,
Nashville, yeah.
Memphis.
So they have Democratic primaries for sure. I don't know about independent parties there if there's
Yeah.
enough of a pool,
I don't know
pool
if
to
there's
essentially
enough-
have a primary there.
Yeah, more than likely it would just be Democrat primary. So what this is the Republican primary. And you know, most people I've always heard around here is everybody votes for Republican.
Yeah,
So whoever wins the election in May will win the election in August.
yeah,
Which you're trying to change that.
100%. Like I said, I want people to vote for somebody that they actually have faith and confidence in, and not just. I have one guy tell me, he said, "I vote all straight down the line." I'm like, regardless of who they are or what they stand for. I said, could be a Republican in name only, could be a true Democrat, but they somehow, like I said, wandered in and got an R beside their name. Don't matter, R straight down the ballot. I was like, hey, that's your prerogative. Okay, I understand.
But so we're trying to make sure that you guys understand how these elections work.
Right.
So in May, that's not the only election you're going to vote in this year.
No,
You'll
there's
actually
three.
you'll have the August election, then you'll have the November election,
That's
which will be
correct.
the state elections.
Yep.
So you've got 3 elections this year. So you definitely need to. If you're not aware of these things here, take note. Mark it down. Ask questions. If you got questions, call the election commission.
Yeah.
Pretty much can reach out here. We're more than happy to help you out however we can.
Right.
Okay, now let's get into this whole thing about the bona fide status.
Yeah.
Now, if I remember correctly, this was 2023. The Republican-led state legislature, it's definitely run by Republicans,
Yep.
passed
Lobbied the legislature
to create law.
to pass a law. That's correct.
Right now, and one of the laws is they have this sign that has to be put up at all polling precincts, and I'm going to read you the sign. It's the law. Please read. It is a violation of Tennessee Code Annotated, Section 2, Tac 7, Tac 115, subsection B, and punishable as a crime under Tennessee Code Annotated, Section 2, Tac 19, Tac 102, or Section 2, Tac 19, Tac 107. If a person votes in a political party's primary without being a bona fide member of or affiliated with that political party, or to declare allegiance to that party without the intent to affiliate with that party. So, and we're going to get in here and we're going to read the laws here in just a second. But let me get you to understand this here. Is if you're not a bona fide Republican,
Essentially, yeah.
you can get in trouble
For voting.
for voting,
Yeah.
and it's against the law.
Yeah. It's not only for the party candidates. Like I said, it's not
Right,
just
it's
for them
for the
running.
voters.
It's also for the
For the
voters.
voters.
Yes.
So, and now here comes the problem: is they go in here or affiliated with that political party,
Right.
or to declare, or if you say, "I swear I'm going to vote Republican," and you got no intention to do so.
Right.
This is when we get into what we talk the term rhino, Republican in name only.
Yeah.
So what's happened here is they've created a law to penalize people, voters, and candidates.
Yeah.
But this sign is actually for the voters,
Yes. It will be posted at all polling locations.
and that's it. So what we're going to do here is we're going to come back in and we're going to read you the laws.
And just to kind of elaborate, like I said, so the bona fide status is essentially that you voted in 3 of the last 4 Republican primaries. All right. Which, same thing for Democrats, but most of the time, like I said, so we don't have as many primaries for Democrats. It was mainly written in for the Republican Party. At the end of the day, the other one is the affiliated or that they've declared. The affiliated, I'm not real sure if that means that, like I said, you have went out and orchestrated or done something for the party. Essentially what has happened, the Tennessee legislature went out and looked at laws from other states and chose to use a law from another state where the other state has a registration list. So we're open primaries. We don't have anything where you have to be a card-carrying member of the party.
Right.
But a lot of these other states that have this law, they're card-carrying members. You can go online and register to be a member of this party. They'll send you a card that says you're a Republican. And so when you go up to the election office, you can flash your little card, say I'm a bona fide or a member of this party, and then can vote. We don't have that here, and so that's been one of my main issues: is how in the world are they supposed to enforce this? How because obviously the election commission, that shouldn't really be their job to enforce. But I've heard from other people they think the election commission should be the one that's enforcing it, and it's like
But it's not the election commission, because the election commission is
Non-
nonpartisan.
nonpartisan,
They
exactly,
do not align with any party,
at all.
and that's
And they should be 100% strict on that rule. They need to make sure 100%
Right.
that they are not partisan whatsoever.
right.
Um,
And let me say this here.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw a curveball in there.
Uh-huh.
They're not partisan, but they have a board,
Mm-hmm.
like the county commission, the city board of aldermen. There's a board that oversees the election commission,
yeah.
and because you don't want a board to have an even number,
Yeah.
because you don't have a tiebreaker at that point.
Right.
There has to be an odd number.
Yeah.
Here's where you might consider some partisan. The odd number, if you've got 7 people on the board, 4 Republican, 3 Democrats.
Right.
And the reason that is because we are a Republican county.
Yeah.
Designated that there based on how votings have gone.
Yeah.
So, I want you guys to understand this here, where you're starting to see how this whole thing plays out.
Yeah.
Now, I want to come in here. I'm going to read you this law here. Now, this is the 2 TAC 19102 that's on that sign. Any person commits a Class C misdemeanor if such person knowingly does any act prohibited by this title, or if such person knowingly fails to do any act which such person is required to do by this title, or if such person knowingly does an act with the intent that another shall do, or an act prohibited by this title. So, layman's terms, if you break the law, if you violate it based on what that signage says, because that's what it comes back into the code itself, what defines it, you can be guilty of a Class C misdemeanor.
That's right.
Now, let's come in. That's one of them. Let's get into the other one, and this is the one you're gonna love. This is gonna be 2 TAC 19 TAC 107. A person commits a Class D felony who, intentionally and knowing that such person is not entitled to, registers or votes in any manner, or attempts to register or vote in any manner where or when such person is not entitled to under this title,
Yeah.
including voting for more than once in the same election. Number 2, they vote in the primary elections of more than one political party in election. So in other words, you can't vote in the Republican primary and vote in the Democrat primary.
Yeah.
That's Class D. That's a Class D felony. When any person is convicted of a violation of subdivision A1 or A2, in addition to any other punishment that may be imposed for the offense, the court shall impose a fine of $1,000. So in other words,
Shall. Yeah.
that means you're going to get a $1,000 fine
Yeah.
if you break this law.
Yeah.
And Class D felony if the judge rules on it.
Yeah.
So in other words, now I'm going to say this here. I think you were. Did you pull your numbers?
Mm.
Your voting record. I think you were 2 or 4.
2 or 4, yes. I didn't qualify as a bona fide candidate.
So you didn't qualify as a bona fide candidate, and if you voted in this primary,
Yeah.
you can technically be charged with up to a Class D felony.
Yes.
That's insane.
Yes.
Insane.
Yeah. Voted in 2 or 4 Republican primaries, and like I said,
Yeah.
and that's where I struggle with the law. And like I said, the way it's written. So, for instance, we've been talking about, if you are a young voter, right? Let's say you're 18, 20 years old. You haven't had the opportunity to even vote in 3 primaries.
How do you get bona fide?
How do you get bona fide, right? Can't. Or let's say you went out and have, quote unquote, red pilled someone, right? So we've got someone to convert from Democrat to Republican.
Right.
How can they ever get bona fide? They can't ever
Right.
reach 3.
Yeah.
They can't even reach 1.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
We've converted them over,
Right. But they can't vote in the
but they
primary.
can't vote in the primary.
Right. They can vote in the general election. That's
Right.
it.
And that's where the problems are here.
Yeah.
And it's valuable for you guys to understand that there. And there is one example of that that we'll bring up when we get talking about the candidates, because we are going to bring all this out to you tonight.
Yeah.
But anyway, so here's the deal. If you vote, if you're not a bona fide Republican, if you have not voted in 3 of the last 4 Republican primaries.
Or have affiliated yourself somewhere with the party.
Right.
Which we're
So,
not real
you
sure
know,
what that is.
Yeah, because there's no definition of that there, and that's written in the bylaws of the Republican Party, and
Right.
there's no definition there from what we can find out.
Right.
So, I mean, I guess they just make the rules up as they go, because that's exactly what they're doing right this moment.
Yeah.
That's the big issue that's happening over in Jackson, where we've had this judge that got removed from the ballot and then put back on the ballot. He was not a bona fide Republican, but they want back the Republican, the SEC, their state committee, came back in here and say, well, we're going to let him back on the ballot. So he's back on the ballot.
Yeah. But they're not doing that for everybody.
Not doing that for everybody.
Yeah, he knew the right person
Right.
to call. So that's where it comes into arbitrary and capricious.
That's right. And let's go back in a little bit more in here, because I want you to I want you to see what this is about.
Yeah.
When this information was sent to me initially, I believe it was last Tuesday, about 10 o'clock at night, I got a message about it. And I haven't addressed it because we wanted to get to this point to be able to share as much information as possible with you. The question that was sent to me was, what's going on in your county? You have, out of your 5 sheriff's candidates, only one is bona fide. Only one sheriff's candidate is a bona fide Republican. One
Yeah.
out of 5 candidates.
That we can find.
That's what we can find going back through and look at the voters list.
Yeah.
1 out of 5 is a bona fide Republican.
Yeah.
So, and the question started coming up is this a money grab?
Yeah. 'Cause
All right.
Just to throw out, while we're saying it's a money grab, let's explain somewhat too. To run for the Republican Party, you have to donate a set amount, depending on which position you're running for, to them, right? So, $100, $150 for
I
commissioner.
think commissioner's about 50, if I remember correctly. I asked the commissioner about
Oh,
it. and he
I
said
thought it was
it's-
more, and then mayor's $250, if
Right.
I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Governor's $5,000.
Yeah, I think it's 2,500 for a state rep.
Yes, and you so donation to the party, right?
Yep.
And for this, is what I don't get though. Like I said, this is what, like I said, floors me. Why at that point in time doesn't the party do its due diligence and check to see if they're bona fide? You know what I'm saying? Instead, they just take the money and run with it, or they send you a nice letter in the mail that says that you're not in compliance or whatever else, and it is a money grab. I mean, that's all it really is. They're not doing anything to vet people. They're not doing anything like that. They don't care. Everybody and their mama can run underneath it as long as you send in your money. Until, and this is where it gets into the enforcement of this, how is this law getting brought up? 3 members, from what we've read, 3 members that
They're
are
bona fide.
bona fide members of the party can call out these candidates and send them to the local party, right, which then sends it to the state, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it sends it to the state committee
Yes.
who looks this thing here over and then makes the decision on what's going on.
Yeah, the decision to remove somebody from the ballot or to allow them to run. So
Right.
let's just make sure everybody understands. That is a party who is comprised of people who are not even local most of the time, who makes the determination on whether this local person can even run on the ballot at all. I'm talking about like that. I mean, it's just
Well,
not
I mean,
that you can't. You got to remove their R behind their name. They're removed because they can no longer qualify as independent.
Right, because
or
they're
anything.
past the qualifying date now.
That's right.
So they can't even qualify as independent or a Democrat.
Yeah.
Now, I had a conversation with a friend of mine up at state level. We were talking about this as well. They were talking about candidates in their county who actually chose not to run because they were not bona fide,
Yeah.
but yet they're strong Republicans.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they not only are they chasing away voters, but they're chasing away candidates out of the party.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, I mean, you read the law, makes some people probably scared to vote.
Yeah,
I
that-
mean,
that- yeah.
I mean, you hold over a Class C or
it-
Class D misdemeanor over somebody's head and $1,000 fine and everything. Well, I don't know if I'm bona fide or not. Better
That's right.
check it out. Oh, well, I mean, maybe not even check it out. Maybe I'll just avoid voting altogether in the primary, and I'll just show up at the general election.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what it comes across as.
Yeah.
Now, the same person who brought this information to me, like I said, brought up the fact that this seems like a money grab. Now they were actually in a meeting last week, tail end of last week, over this here,
Yeah.
when it was being discussed, and it was pretty much told that the way this thing here works is this is like a club. So you join the club and you got to pay your dues.
Yeah.
So if you want to be in the Republican Party, you got to pay your dues.
You better pay up.
Got to pay up. It's
Yeah.
all about money.
Yeah.
And if you want to, let's nail that, the reason it's about money. There is the TriStar Daily, which is a Republican media outlet, has put out a list. There's a list of 149 candidates statewide who have been removed from the ballots.
Yeah.
And they cannot vote as a Republican, yet they can challenge if they want to. And if they challenge, they have, I think they have until May 5th to make that challenge, which is, just a few days away.
You mean March 5th?
March 5th, I'm sorry. Yeah, March 5th. March 5th.
Because you have to have the ballot certified by March 11th.
Right.
Yeah.
So, now, and here's something that's gonna kind of blow your mind. Where I didn't really think about the whole thing about the money grab at first. I'm like, yeah, maybe we're stretching here. But here's what I'm going to say: the TriStar Daily posted 149 candidates across the whole state. 149 candidates. There was one candidate from Henderson County.
Yep.
That has had their name removed from the ballot. And the reason their name was removed from the ballot, it wasn't because they weren't bona fide, because they are bona fide.
Yeah.
It was because they didn't pay the $250 fee.
Yeah.
And what blows my mind is, and that just goes to show, they didn't care about the voting record. They cared about the money.
Yeah.
And this candidate had already withdrawn from the election. It's like,
Yeah.
and
Well, we want to post his name and blow it out there.
Right, yeah. So, I mean, now, it makes Tim Rose look like he's not a bona fide Republican. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you know Tim, you talk to Tim, Tim's Republican as they come.
Right.
He is.
100%.
And, but that, that where it gets into it, when you start getting to these things here, they set the precedents.
Yeah.
They've made the rules.
Yeah.
And the rules are, you have to have voted. You got to pay your money, first of all.
Yeah.
If you ain't paid your money, they don't even talk to you.
Right.
But if you've done that there, you have to have voted in 3 of the last 4 Republican primaries.
Right. But this is where I get a problem with it.
But
they don't actually enforce it. They don't actually check or verify when you send that money in to determine whether or not you're bona fide. They want the other bona fide members of the party here to bring
voters
up,
to come out and do it.
To bring it up as an issue, right? And then they'll bring it up to, once again, this committee in Nashville, essentially, to make a determination on whether or not we're going to remove you from the ballot. Is that not crazy?
That is crazy.
I mean, it blew my mind. Like I said, the more we dug into it and I realized that, it pretty much allows your elections or who can run to be determined by people completely outside of the county.
That's it. That's exactly what it is.
And that's crazy to me.
That is, and it's crazy to me too. And I'll say I'm like Mark James.
Yeah.
I'm a conservative, but I'm not a Republican.
Right.
To me, this is another issue where the party left me.
Right.
I didn't leave the party.
Yeah.
Because, when I got here, I started looking. Before I was here, I was in Wayne County, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I was a strong Republican.
No.
And I got here, and it's like, that's not how Republicans act, but that's a Republican. What the heck's going on?
Right.
I'd never heard the term rhino before.
Right.
I guess I was naive.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you right now, though, in Wayne County, I think they generally vote. They have the strongest Republican vote in any county in the state. I mean, there's a good, strong Republicans over there.
Yeah.
So anyway, I left the party because of that there. And this is another example of why I'm not going back to the party, is because this is wrong.
Yeah, I agree.
And let's say I decided I wanted to go back to the party.
Yeah.
And I'm tell you what? That's what kills me. I've never voted in a Democrat. Never.
Right. Same.
It's just, I haven't done it. Now, it's not to say that there's been some bad Democrat candidates, because I think we've had some good Democrat candidates. I think we've had some good people service that were Democrats.
Right.
But that's just how I was raised and brought up, and that's neither here nor there. But where my problem here is this: if you're telling a voter, if you're not bona fide, and we haven't, how do you determine how somebody's affiliated?
Right.
Do you bring them in front of a chancery judge and say, or actually no, this is going in front of a circuit court.
Yeah.
This is going in front of circuit court, and they're going to say, this dude over here has only voted in one Republican primary, so we want him charged.
Yeah.
To the full extent of the law. Well, you know what? I go to every Republican convention. I attend things. If you look at my Facebook page, there's nothing but Republicans down there.
Right.
I'm affiliated, but guess what? Somebody in the party don't like me.
Right.
Then they can go in here and say, well, no, we want to push this.
That's exactly it. And like I said, it also goes back to before you even get to court. assuming I guess they charge district attorney's going to pick it up and they're going to try to run with it, or the party itself in their committee is going to make a determination on whether or not you can be removed from the ballot. Oh, but if you know the right people on the committee, you may not get removed, or you may even get reinstated on it.
That's it.
And like I said, so that's where I end up with the whole. Well, that's going to be very arbitrary and capricious on how it's determined whether or not somebody can stay and run for the Republican Party or be removed completely from the ballot, and that is horrid. Like I said, I mean, if you don't have a law that is once again fair and transparent with how it's going to be applied, I mean, you might as well not have the law at all. Because I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, it's just wild, wild west.
That's exactly, yeah, that's it exactly. Now, and I also want to explain something to you. Someone I know in local politics, got a local grassroots organization, I reached out to because I trust their information.
Yeah.
Now, I want to go back in to the TriStar Daily has shown that the Republican Party has removed 149 people off the ballot. 149. I want you to remember that. 150. I want to round it up. 150.
Yeah.
The person I talked to last week told me that there was, and I think it was last week. It may have been the week before last. I don't remember it was last week when all this stuff came out, wasn't it? So it was last week when I reached out. I think it was Wednesday. That there were 2,700 challenges across the state.
Yes.
For candidates not being bona fide. 2,700.
Yeah.
And only 149 were removed out of 2,700. Now, 2,700 seems like a lot of candidates, and I'm like, okay, well, yeah. What is what's 35 times? Hold on a second here. Let me get my math right here. I'm sorry. Let's take 30 times 95. 2850. Take 27 times 95. 2565. Okay. Now I thought 2,700 would have been a large number, and I'm like, yeah, that just may be out of proportion. But no. I can believe that number to be accurate. That there was 2,700 candidates challenged for not being bona fide in this state. And it really would be 94 counties we're looking at, because guess what? The only person challenged in Henderson County was somebody who's withdrawn from the election.
Yeah.
I want you to know this here. There are 56 candidates across all the open races that we've got in this election.
Yeah.
56 candidates. 48%, which is 27 candidates.
Yeah. Not
they're bona fide.
That's right, they're bona fide, yeah.
Only less than half of the candidates
Yeah.
are bona fide Republicans running on the Republican primary election.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Crazy. And like I said, you would think more than likely the people that are running for the Republican Party are the ones that have invested and continue to vote in these Republican primaries. So, and that's what I'm going to try to do, is compile all this list together and determine how many people across the board are bona fide. Because, like I said, just guessing, and said, like looking at statistics, I would venture to guess that less than 20% of the voters,
right.
the registered voters, are bona fide.
Right.
And so, I mean, if you follow the letter of the law, only those 20% are supposed to be able to vote.
Well, and if you go back into it, I mean, a lot of times, it's people just aren't aware of the elections.
Right.
I mean, it's just it's a simple, somebody's dropped the ball on trying to get this information out there.
Right.
Okay, now here we go. This is the moment everybody's been waiting for. We're going to get up in here and we're going to talk about the candidates that are bona fide. I don't know how y'all want to say it.
Right.
All I know is I use Dapper Dan. I used to anyway. That's why I ain't got no hair left. That's a reference to Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Yeah.
That was a movie. All right. What we've done is we've compiled a list of how every candidate has voted in the last 4 elections.
Well, what card they pulled?
Right. What card? Yeah. Well, not
Who they voted?
if they voted in the primary.
Yes.
If they did or they didn't. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all we look at.
Yeah.
We can't see anything else.
Yeah.
All righty. We're going to start with the sheriff's elections. Like I said, we got 5 candidates there: Brad Atkinson, Tracy Grisham, Richard King, Terry Moody, Larry Stegall. All right. 1 candidate has voted in all 4 of the Republican primaries, and that is Brad Atkinson. He is a bona fide Republican, and he's got a perfect voting record with the Republican Party. Okay. All right, here we go. Tracy Grisham. And let me say this here before we even get any further because I know how people are around here. Look, we're just stating facts to you here.
Yeah.
We're not telling you who to vote for, to sway your vote, or anything.
Yeah.
Vote for who you want to vote for.
Yeah. And this is public information.
But this is public information. Anybody can go get.
Yeah.
It's just like when we share salaries and stuff. It's all public information.
Yeah.
But this is information because we are coming into election. We feel that it's pertinent that you need to know.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to hear it, there's a simple thing to do. Get off the video. Stop watching.
Yeah.
Simple. Okay. Tracy Grisham is not a bona fide Republican.
Voted in 2 of 4.
He's voted in 2 of 4. He voted in the. Well, I'm not going to get into the dates because that'll take too long.
Yeah.
Richard King, not a bona fide Republican. He has not voted in any of the Republican primaries. Now, and remember, we have looked in Henderson County only.
Yeah.
So I don't know how long, if Richard's been here the whole time, but he is not a bona fide Republican in this county.
Right. Could be that he's from Madison County, that he voted there.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't have that details there.
Right.
Terry Moody. He has not voted. He's 0-4. He's not voted in any Republican primaries.
Yeah.
Larry Stegall is 2 of 4.
Yeah.
So, bottom line is Brad is your only candidate that has a perfect Republican voting record.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into the mayors. Shelley Alexander, she is bona fide. She's voted in 3 of 4. Now, I want to let you guys know something here. The election, you're going to hear a lot of people who have voted 3 to 4. And when you go back in and you look at where they voted, they almost all voted exactly the same.
Yeah.
The last election, they did not vote in the general election, which would have been our August primary.
Yeah.
It would have been the state primary, but the general election for the county. And more than likely was because the Republican candidate in the local election was going up to the August general election and didn't have an opponent.
Yeah,
right.
Unopposed.
So, and they may have just looked at this at the state seats and said, "Oh, it's not anything I want to vote on."
Right.
Okay, so Shelley Alexander, 3 of 4. Jacob Behan, he has 0 of 4. Now I know Jacob's of age to get this here done. I don't know all of Jacob's history.
I'm not sure if he moved from out of town. Or,
yeah, I'm not sure that there.
Yeah.
There may be something there that we're not aware of. So I just want to make a note of that there. Robbie McCready, our current mayor, he's got a perfect Republican voting record. He's voted in 4 of 4. Darren McDaniel, he's got a 3 of 4, so he is bona fide as well. And the same thing as everybody else, he didn't vote in the last general/primary. Gary Riffle, he's got a perfect voting record, 4 of 4. All right, we're going to move down here to Commissioner District 1. All 3 candidates, Junior Carter, Jeff James, and Mark James, who we had up here tonight, are all bona fide Republicans, and they all are 3 of 4. Same thing last election. All right, let's get down to District 2. All right, David Blankenship, not a bona fide Republican, 2 of 4. Don Eubank, not a bona fide Republican, 2 of 4. Tommy Page has a perfect voting record, 4 of 4 in the last 4 elections. And Blaine Sumler, we couldn't find anything on him, so we're showing that he's not bona fide with an 0 and 4 record. So let's come on down here to the District 3. We have Todd Beecham. Todd is bona fide with the last 3 or 4. Terry Beecham is not bona fide. He's only voted in 2 of the last 4. Brian Duke is bona fide. He's voted in the last 3 or 4. District 4 commissioners. Will Davis is not bona fide. He's voted in 1 of 4. Mac Manus is bona fide, and Mac Manus has voted, and he's got a perfect voting record for the Republican primaries. Blake Stanfield is bona fide. He's voted in 3 or 4. Coming down here to District 5, we have Terry Allen. He's bona fide. He's voted in 3 or 4. Daniel F. Evans is not bona fide. He's 0 of 4. Logan Fiddler, not bona fide, 1 of 4. Randall Keene is bona fide. He's 3 of 4. And Terry Singleton is bona fide, and he has got a perfect voting record with the Republican Party. All right. Tabitha Derryberry, not bona fide. She's not voted in any. Trent Harris is not bona fide. He's only voted in 1. Let's see here. Boom, 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 boom. Jack Johnson. Jack Johnson is bona fide. He's got a perfect voting record, 4-4. Gary Ross is bona fide. He's got a 3-4. And Mark Walker is not bona fide. He's got 2-4. Let's come down here to 7. Okay, Hunter Grissom. He is bona fide, 3-4. Nick Peterson is not bona fide, 2-4. And Joe Ross is bona fide with the perfect record, 4-4.
Yeah.
All right, coming down to your trustee. John Cavness, not bona fide. He's 1-4. Mark Montgomery, not bona fide, 0-4. Doug Bartholomew is bona fide. He's got a perfect record. Tasha Carver is not bona fide. She's got 2-4. And there is a note there. Well, you know, and I know we had mentioned something about it. And this is one of our examples of candidates being brought from one party to another. Tasha actually voted in the 2020 Democrat primary.
Yeah.
But since then, she started swinging back over to voting Republican. So, you know, that there's a conversion thing and you know, of converting somebody from the Democrat Party to the Republican Party. All righty, let's get into constables. Junior Howard, not bona fide, 2-4. Brent Mayfield, not bona fide, 2-4. Ronnie Holmes is bona fide, 3-4. David Stanley, not bona fide, 0-4. Mike Fisher is bona fide, 3-4. Zachary Jeans, not bona fide, 1-4. Kimmy Spawn, not bona fide, we got 0-4. Chris McPeak, not bona fide, 0-4. Patrick Cherry, not bona fide, 0-4. And let's come down here. District 7 Constable is Richie Stanfield. Richie is bona fide with 3-4. Circuit Sessions Court Clerk is Beverly Dunaway. She's bona fide with the perfect record, 4-4. All right, let's get into the county school boards. Matthew Crownover, not bona fide, 0-4. Brandon Reynolds is bona fide, 3-4. District 4, Tommy Gordon is bona fide with the perfect record. Janet Hayes is not bona fide with 2-4. And then the last candidate is John Walker in District 6 School Board. He's not bona fide because he's got 2-4. So, again, we've got 27 of 56 candidates who are bona fide. Now, I want to share some stuff with you here. I want to shake some things up for you. Let's say the Republican Party came back in here and said, you know what, our rules state you got to be bona fide to be on our ballot. Mm-hmm. And they held this accountable and said, we're going to do that 100% across the board. Let me tell you what happens. Brad Atkinson walks into the sheriff's because nobody else is qualified, is bona fide.
Yeah. So, and let's just explain what that means. That means that they would be removed from the ballot. So their name would not show up. They could still have a write-in candidacy, but they would have to have people literally write their name in.
Right.
You would have to literally on the ballot write their name, and so that is what the big issue is once again we're allowing this party with members in the committee that are outside of this county be able to determine who can run on this ballot. And so this is my big spiel. Like I say big spiel. It's real short. Please stop electing dumb people or stupid people to pass stupid laws that have no way of being enforced or a good mechanism to enforce it into rule, and then also are going to, on the back end, in this case, be arbitrary about how they're going to enforce it. Where we have a judge removed in Jackson, and then all of a sudden he's put back on the ballot because he knew the right person to contact. And so that's my whole spiel on that. It is dumb. It should have never ever passed law. And to be honest with you, I'm fiscally conservative. I, by and large, lean Republican on a bunch of things, 99% of things. But when you have something stupid like this, I'm afraid this is going to hurt us in the midterms. If we lose the House, it's going to be bad problems. We're going to watch impeachments fly left and right. I can almost assure you of that. And I think these dumb laws like this are going to have a real bad rap on the Republican Party.
And I'm going to tell you right now, talking with some of the elected state officials that are in the Republican Party, they're not happy about this.
Right.
They all see the problem with this whole thing.
Yeah.
And this is where, this isn't here. We're not trying to beat up the Republican Party by no means.
Yeah.
We're trying to make Republicans aware of the fact that this is a serious issue that's going on.
Yeah.
That's going to impact the party.
Yeah.
And possibly cost elections in the long term.
Agreed.
And that's
And potentially even have great candidates removed from the ballot.
exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
I mean, that's my whole problem with it. At the end of the day, like I said, not only is it, in my mind, one of the your greatest rights here is the ability to vote and elect your representatives, right? Who's going to
Right.
But now you're going to tell people that they can't even do that because we have some party members, a limited board in Nashville that gets to determine who gets to run for the party, and that you can once again cast your votes for and elect. I got real problems with that.
Yeah, I do
real
too.
Problems.
Because you know what? That compromises the integrity of the election.
In my mind, I agree 100%.
It compromises the voter and the candidate.
Yes, and the way it is set up right now, like I said, they're going back and forth on, well, who's supposed to enforce this? You know what I'm saying? Like I said, we got the 3 bona fide members that can bring up the issue to the committee, the party committee or whatever, and then you got the party that's like, well, the election commission. Well, no, the election commission
They ain't
shouldn't
got nothing to do with it.
at all. This is a party thing. This is a
party
private
thing.
party thing. This is not the election commission's responsibility whatsoever. Could you imagine if you walked into the election commission and, you know, no offense, but it's normally a sweet old lady or older people
Yeah.
that are there that are assisting with it. Hey, I need to vote. I'm getting a Republican primary ballot, and they're going, oh, well, hold on one sec. Let me look your name
Just
up.
make sure you're bona fide.
Yeah, I got to check to see if you're bona fide or not, and pull up your voting record and see. And then, like I said, how does that happen? How does that affect the red pilled people, the people that have converted over, or like I said, the young voters that haven't even had the opportunity to vote that many times? I think it was not thought out at all from, once again, how the law is written, how it's going to function. And that's why I say, please, for the love of God, vet your candidates. Make sure you got
Amen.
people
Amen.
in office that understand laws, that understand implementing them, that understand operating under them and executing, so that you don't have stupid laws like this that end up on the books. Once again, should never have been a law.
No,
at all.
should never been a law.
If you want to have that as the party, by all means, knock yourselves out.
Right.
But that's the party's problem.
Right.
The party
It should never go into law.
Exactly, 100%.
And all that does is that's going to, eventually it opens up. It can open up the state and it can open up the party to lawsuits.
Yeah. Like I said, I mean, I'm sure it is ripe for litigation at this point in time with as many people as been challenged and people have been removed from the ballot.
Yeah, and because the people who were removed were allowed to come back on,
Yeah.
that makes it 10 times worse.
100%.
But yeah, let me. I want to explain this here to you. Like I said, how drastic this could change an election. If the Republican Party came down there and said, "You're not bona fide, you're not bona fide, you're not bona fide, you're not bona fide," all of a sudden 5 candidates in the sheriff's race is down to 1,
Yeah.
and it's a walk in the park. Let me show you this here though. District 2. You're supposed to elect 2 commissioners per district. You've only got 1 that's bona fide.
Yeah.
The other one's not. Let's come down here. Let's see if I see any more districts like that there. Here's 2 districts that have exactly 2. So in District 6, you would knock 3 of the candidates out because they're not bona fide. District 7, 1 candidate who is an existing sitting Republican commissioner would be removed.
Yeah.
We would have no trustee because neither one of them are bona fide. Our county clerk's not bona fide, so we wouldn't have one of those. We wouldn't have a constable in District 1. We wouldn't have a constable in District 4. We wouldn't have a constable in District 5, not one in 6.
Yeah.
Because they're not qualified. They're not bona fide. And we'd lose a school board member in District 6.
And remember, this is on the primary ballot.
Primary ballot,
Yeah,
right.
so this would be-
and if they would have known this stuff
Right.
beforehand, they could have run as an independent
100%.
and not been a question.
Right.
But nobody's educating the voters. Nobody's
right.
educating the candidates.
Yeah.
And the responsibility does not fall on the election commission to do that.
That's right.
It falls on the party.
Yeah. In my mind, agreed.
And since they're forcing the election commission to post these signs in the precincts, they need to have. So at least when the question comes up, if somebody walks into the polling precinct and looks at that sign and points at it and asks the precinct workers, "Can I vote?" Well, I don't know.
Yeah. Not my job.
It's not my responsibility. That's
Yeah.
the party's responsibility. So here I am. I'm breaking the law that the party had the state legislature create.
Right. They passed.
Right, they passed. They passed.
I mean, it's law.
This law.
Yeah.
And it's just like, what on earth are you thinking?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I hate to tell people to vote because, heck, they could be held criminally liable for this here.
Yeah.
And that one specific law says Class D felony.
Right.
If you're a felon for voting, that's just absurd.
Oh, I agree 100%. And like I said, my thing is too. So, are we going to have the 3 bona fide members come back after the election, pull the records list, and compare it and say, "Hey, you weren't bona fide when you voted in this," and then go to the district attorney
and challenge it?
And what? Not challenge it. Tell him that he needs to pursue charges.
Yeah.
Or is the Republican Party going to come in and look at it overall
Yeah.
once again and put out a list for every county and say, "Hey, I want you, district attorney, to go out there and start pursuing it." Maybe, I don't know.
Next thing you know, you got candidates sitting in jail, possible prison term,
Yeah.
because of ignorance. I mean, it's just flat out ignorance.
Yeah. Agreed.
So
That's why I didn't run for a party, just FYI, because I think some of it is absolute ignorance, and like I said, across the board. And at the end of the day, like we were talking about earlier, being a money grab for a lot of it, like I said, I think if a lot of people understood how party politics works, from not only the required donation to run for the party, but also if you want to get up into the higher levels of government, right, and you want to be on any committee. So a lot of people don't understand, when you try to get bills to the floor, 99 times out of 100, it has to go through a committee before it ever gets to the floor to be voted on.
Right.
And so when they say killed in committee, that means that bill got killed in committee before it ever came to the floor to be voted on. To get on that committee, these powerful committees like that, most time,
donors, whoever makes the biggest donation
or
to the party.
acquires those donors, right?
Yeah.
So that's the thing. So you can't in the Capitol, right, building, you can't go out, or Senate or you can't be in those buildings, the governmental buildings, right, and make calls to get donations. But they'll tell you got to go across the street, right, to this other building, and you better get on that phone. And what does that mean? That means you better start calling all these large donors to get this money coming in. And when I say large, I mean a lot of these committees, if you're not over 6 figures, over $100,000, you ain't never seen a committee.
Right.
Some of them $250,000, $500,000. You want to be on the Ways and Means Committee, which is one of the most powerful committees, you better raise a lot of money for this party. Otherwise, you will never be involved on that committee, ever.
And that's what, people don't understand, that knowledge of just how deep all this stuff goes.
Yeah.
And that's where it's at. All right, I'm going to look at some of our comments. Now I'm going to tell you right now, I'm behind here. So bear with me here. I'm going to take and jump up to these. Let's see if we can catch up with some comments, because I know we got some. And then we're probably at some point here going to take and we're going to shut it down. Hey, Penny. Good evening, Penny. Thanks for tuning in. You were like one of our top fans. I could buy Penny lunch or dinner or something. All righty. Come on. Well, Amanda, when I'm coming up on your first comment, Amanda. When you're talking about registering, Tennessee does not require you to register. They do not have registration for parties.
We're an open primary, is
Yeah.
what they consider us. And so that's like what I talked about earlier with the registration. So when I say they took the law from another state, right, and passed it here, these other states have registries.
Right.
So like I said, when you go there and you can register for the party, and you get a card mailed to you in the mail that has your name and that you're a Republican Party or you're a Democrat Party or whatever it may
You're
be.
registered to that party.
You are registered. And so when you go into the election commission, a lot of them will ask, you just hand them that card. I am a member of this party.
And you get a party line vote.
That's right.
Yeah. So, but that's not the way Tennessee is set up.
No.
But I'm like you. I think what they did was they hijacked somebody else's rules,
Right.
and tried to implement them here, and it doesn't fit because we don't have registered
That's right.
party people. Voters aren't registered for parties.
That's right.
Yes, the laws themselves, you are able to vote in the general election.
That's correct.
The laws are only applicable to the primaries.
That's right.
And in Henderson County, all we have is a Republican primary.
That's right. For the local elections.
For the local election,
That's
right.
Yeah.
Only voting laws.
The state election, there's one. In the federal election, there's a Democrat primary.
I'm kind of like with you on that there, Amanda. Everybody should have the freedom to vote. I mean, because let's say a Democrat, if you're trying to convert somebody from being a Democrat to a Republican,
Right.
why wouldn't you let them vote in your primary?
Right.
That makes no sense, because you're trying to convert people over.
Right. And you can't ever do that according
No,
to this law
according to
because
this
you
law, you
can't
can't.
vote, you can't vote once, but you've got to do it 3 times. Well, hell, if you can't do it once, how you gonna get 3? Other than becoming affiliated, which once again, there's not any clear rules on what affiliated means. Does that mean, like I said, that you go and work for the Republican Party and volunteer your time? Does that mean you give them $1,000 donation and all of a sudden you're affiliated?
Well, maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's a pay to play to become affiliated.
Maybe, I
Who
don't
the
know.
heck knows?
It's not clearly delineated, which is
Yeah.
once again my problem. It needs to be spelled out in black and white.
Right, right. So people can see it.
100%.
All right. Okay, Amanda, I saw what would happen if they cleared out all the non-bona fides. What about positions that would be no candidates? Okay, we went back through, we kind of set that in like, except with the sheriff's race. Brad would by default win because the other 4 candidates are not bona fide in accordance to the Republican primary,
Right.
according to Republican committee's rules.
Right.
So,
But they could be wrote in. And so this is what
Right,
I don't
they
get.
could- yeah.
This is what I don't get though. They could still be wrote in. And so let's just say by miracle.
but they can't be right in on the. They can only be right in the general.
Yeah, that's what my question was going to be then. So could they be wrote in on the primary, or is it just the general?
Well, then what do you do with anybody that's on the primary if you never had any chance to qualify them as bona fide or not?
Right, exactly. So let's just that's what I was getting at though. Let's say it's real weird. Let's say that Brad was the only one that was bona fide, right? And he got his name on there. And then let's say for instance, Grissom was able to have enough write-ins that by vote he beat him, right? But then the party's gonna come back and say no, like you don't win because you're not bona fide. I mean, I don't know how that would play out. I guess is what in my mind.
Well, I mean,
If that's the case, or if it's
it's
just
their
an election.
primary, so I mean, I would think where they would have that ability to do so.
Yeah.
But then again, let's go back into the fact that you have to certify the ballot before you put it out there for vote.
Right.
Does that become a legal and binding thing to say, okay, if somebody gets put in, can you challenge them post-election?
Right.
I don't know. I would have to research on that there to find out how that goes. Now, what about the positions there that there would be no candidates? Okay, like let's say sit here, go back down here. Trustee, there would be no candidate here because nobody's bona fide.
Right.
What would happen there is the county commission would appoint somebody trustee until the next election.
Yeah. Well, that's once again where it gets weird though. So in the general election, we could have write-ins, and so I mean,
Right.
I'm sure there will be at least
At least one write-in.
Yeah, for
Right.
somebody, and technically that person would win. You know what I'm saying?
Everybody in the county could write themselves in, and all.
Whoever-
And all it takes is one person to get 3 or 4 votes on their name, and they're the next trustee.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, and they would do that in the general election. So
Yeah. So assuming that, like you said, there's nobody that was written in, it would go back to the county commission to appoint someone or vote someone into
Right.
office essentially at that point.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's crazy the way this is done. This is just
Not thought out.
not at all.
Not thought out.
Not thought out at all.
Yeah.
And it goes back to what Blake's saying, and I'll say it a million times. We vote so much on popularity of so and so. I knew their family. I knew this. I knew that. They
Or
grew
down
up
the
in this-
line.
Yeah.
I vote down the line this.
And you know what you get? You get the same results as what you got now.
Yeah.
You need to start looking at your candidates. You need to start asking questions. If these candidates don't want to come up here, which I'm going to tell you right now, at this point, I've only got one other committed candidate, which I did have to a message today about changing theirs because county meeting's coming up. Don Eubanks agreed to come on. He was going to come on the 10th. But I've got to move that there because the county meeting's going to be on the 10th. And it wouldn't be fair to Don to have him up here on the 10th. Because I think that would cut into his viewership while we're somebody streaming the county meeting and I'm over here doing a podcast at the same time.
Right.
And plus that makes it more difficult for the people. So we're going to look at it. But at this point in time frame, Tracy Grisham for sheriff is committed. Blake's come on.
Mm-hmm.
He committed. Mark came on tonight. He committed.
Yeah.
Don's committed. And Brad Atkinson I have talked with, and there's a couple I've talked to. We haven't set dates yet. Brad I talked to, he's working down in Memphis a lot with
The Safe Task Force.
the task force down there. So his schedule, he's trying to find a spot in his schedule where he can take and come on.
Yeah.
And if nothing else, we may have to work with him. Blake Stanfield has reached out. about coming on. He's in school the nights of Monday, Tuesday, and Friday. So we're going to probably do a late Thursday night. He was talking about like 9 o'clock.
Oh, wow.
Which that might be past my bedtime. Or we might do a Wednesday. So Blake's going to have to look at the schedule too. And let me see. I've had Will Davis in District 4, who is going to look at his schedule as well and set a date. So we have not had a lot of candidates who want to come up here.
Right.
And I get it. I mean, I've been asked this question quite a few times. It's like, I'm worried about you. Are you going to attack me? We're not attacking stuff up here. We're asking questions, and the questions generally are your questions.
Yeah.
With the exceptions of some stuff that we may have questions on, but we're not attacking candidates. We're trying to give them a platform where you can ask questions of them. You can hear what they have to say, and you know where this candidate stands.
Right.
And it's for your benefit. And the candidate benefits from it because how our traffic weekly is insane.
Yeah.
Most people would be shocked to see, we're sitting at 175,000 people come across our page weekly.
Yeah.
And it's not just because, I know first, there's only 175,000 in Henderson County. That's exactly right. There's not.
Yeah.
We've got reach across the state. We've got reach into other parts of the country and in other parts of the world.
Yeah.
And so, when you get into this stuff here and you look at this here, and I know I've been questioned, y'all got like 6,200 members, which is going to trip to 63. Membership is not required to watch this page.
It's public.
It's public.
Yeah.
Anybody can look at it.
Yeah.
That's how we get so many people looking at the page.
Yeah.
Because they want to see what's going on.
Yeah.
So, and do we cause? People think we cause issues because we bring out the issues. That's not causing issues. That's just bringing light to the issue.
Yeah.
It's not airing dirty laundry. It's allowing candidates allowing the voters and the citizens to know what's happening in their county, so that they can go to the polls and vote and make change that they want to make.
That's right.
Because of what's going on and they're paying attention.
Yeah.
We're just giving them the information that they wouldn't see anywhere else.
That's right. And if you don't like that we're highlighting your actions, change your actions.
That's it. That is it in a nutshell.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not what we do.
Yeah.
What we share is what somebody else is doing.
Yeah.
So, that's kind of how I look at things, but it is what it is. Anyway, I think we got anything else we want to touch base on there?
I think that was it. We've tried to stay limited on this podcast to really this bona fide thing because it has blown up across the state. Like I said, this is a huge issue.
Right.
But just to highlight, this law just got passed in 24, so there hasn't really been anything since then. And so now that it's finally being essentially put to use and executed on, now everybody's starting to realize, oh my gosh, there's huge problems here. And it boils down to the fact that we have a lot, sounds bad, but a lot of dumb people that have been elected to the state legislature that got this passed that never thought it through.
They've passed this here without thinking it over.
Yeah.
But what's even more dangerous is
how it's going to affect.
Well, what's even more
elections.
dangerous is we have a committee that is. I don't believe that's an elected committee unless it's elected by the Republicans. Maybe the Republican. I don't know how they create their the SEC that committee. I'd have to find that information out. But bottom line is, we have people that's not elected that's making rules in regards to how the elections run, and it's almost playing favoritism to candidates.
Right. Yeah, I agree 100%. And like you said, I mean, it allows them to be arbitrary about who's allowed to run. And like you said before, for the most part, in at least Henderson County and a lot of our counties, who wins the Republican primary, a lot of times, 90 times out of 100, goes to the general election unopposed.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even have to vote anymore. They
Right.
win. You know what I'm saying? Because there's going to be 10 or 15 people that vote for him because they're the only ones there, and boom, he's in office.
Yeah.
And that's why you see a lot of times when you look at the vote count from the primary to the general election's almost half.
Yeah.
It's half of what was voted on in the primary.
And what blows my mind is when you start looking at that is when you're looking at candidates that you voted for,
Mm-hmm.
you would think those numbers would be the same. If you voted for this person here, in the general, they'll be the same because you're going there.
Yeah.
But it's always lower.
Yes.
And, and now I'm going to tell you right now some of the things, too, that, again, talking with people, this is one of the things is we have to, I communicate with a lot of people. people that don't like me will actually communicate and talk with me a lot of times over things. They'll ask. Heck, I had somebody over the weekend ask for some clarity and some information on something that's happening next week. Yeah, we got a bad reputation because some people don't like what we do because we're airing dirty laundry. And it's not that we're airing dirty laundry, we're just bringing stuff to light so you guys are aware.
Yeah.
But I don't know how the heck to phrase it. I'm kind of lost on how to phrase this here, but bottom line is, and I know I kind of got off on a tangent there. This information that you're getting is vital for you in understanding who you need to elect. And if you see a problem with something, by all means, it would make no sense whatsoever to come in here and put the same person right back in the office.
Right.
That's created the problem that you see.
Yeah.
I mean, that's lunacy.
Yeah. All right, especially, like I said, yes and no. My problem with it is, and why I say no is, I don't have a problem if you can come out and admit you made a mistake and that this was wrong and take action to correct it. We all make mistakes.
Right.
We all have problems we deal with. We all think we're trying to do something right. Come to find out it didn't address the problem. Come back and correct it. Man up,
Right.
say, we messed up, we're taking this action to correct it. But my problem is with 90% of people in politics is their ego drives so much of it that they'll never admit they were wrong.
There
Ever.
you go.
And
That's
so,
it.
I mean, that's my thing. Like I said, I don't think we should necessarily just chastise them, but I'm gonna hold you. I'm gonna chastise you if you don't admit you were wrong when something that was flagrantly wrong. I got no problem holding your feet to the fire whatsoever.
And the thing is, what really something else that bugs me is when they vote a certain way or they bring something out here that they're trying to get passed, whatever. And have you truly talked to the constituents?
Right.
And I ain't talking to you. I ain't talking about going and sit down with your buddies that you drink beer with and sit there and say, hey, man, what do y'all think about this? Or, oh, yeah, well, that's good enough. That's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
Or, you know what? We're going to Sunday dinner with the aristocrats, and we're going to go discuss how we're going to run the county.
Right.
No. Our government is elected representatives. This is a representative government is
That's
what
right.
we have.
Not leaders,
Not leaders.
representatives.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
Yeah, there is a very big difference.
Yeah.
We don't need leaders.
Yeah.
We need representatives.
Yeah.
People who represent the will of the people.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. That's the reason we elect them.
Yeah.
That they're not appointed to it.
That's right.
Now, there are positions that are leadership positions, which our representatives appoint.
Yeah.
But that's the whole point here. Is it should be listening to your constituents, finding out what they want, and oh my gosh, the one I love the most. Well, my people put me in there because they know that they know how I'm gonna vote. That's not listening to them.
Right.
That's not listening to them at all.
No.
That's a piss poor excuse.
Yeah.
Just get out here and listen to the people. Talk to the people. You don't tell you what. I talk to the people. You talk to the people.
Yeah.
Well, you're running for office, but it's one of these things here. I mean, it's just a matter of having a conversation.
Yep. That's all it is.
And once you do, you start. But above, beyond that, if your people want something that you don't want, it don't matter what you want.
That's right. You got to put your stuff to the side.
You put that's right. It's not
right.
about your own agenda. This
Yeah.
is about the people's agenda.
Yeah.
That's the way it is. Anyway, we're an hour into this thing, which
Longer than we anticipated.
yeah. But
We're
I mean, there's
always
a lot of
long-winded.
information. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, you get running your mouth.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
like I said, we wanted to give you this information and share it with you. We're going to end up putting a post up probably in the next couple of days. I've got to get this stuff down so I can condense it down where you can actually see it in a screen format.
Let me just point out one thing. Like I said, I am not a bona fide member of the Republican Party. I can't challenge anybody. So before anybody ever brings up the fact that I challenge somebody or that I got some, I can't do it. It's not me. I'm
Yeah.
all for anybody being open to challenge. Like I said, I'll debate anyone that's on there, whether it's mayor, sheriff. I'll talk to anybody and everybody. And like I said, we can sit there in open forum and have, like I said, a back and forth debate about anything. You know that
Right.
just as well as I do about how I feel about things. And so just want to throw that out there before it gets thrown up that, like I said, I did something to try to change this election. If anything, I've tried to advocate that this is probably one of the dumbest laws I have ever seen written on the books, and it just, once again, absolutely blows my mind that the party had enough sway to lobby the legislature to get it rolled into state law, and that the party didn't take it upon themselves to implement and enforce.
I'm just wondering where their legal department is researching this here, not even looking at this from any kind of common sense perspective.
Right.
I mean, it just blows my mind. And before we close here, I just want to let you guys know one thing here. If you're not happy with this here, if you want to challenge a candidate, it takes 3 bona fide. You got to be bona fide now.
Yeah.
If you ain't bona fide, you ain't got no luck, and you can't appeal and say, well, "Look, I'd like to still make the challenge."
Right.
You can't do all that stuff.
Yeah.
3 bona fides, 3 bona fide voters, and if you have a question, if you're bona fide or not, give me a call. We can take and pull it up and find out for you.
Yeah.
So, if you are 3 bona fide people, can challenge any position countywide on countywide positions. And let me make sure I'm understanding, that you understand this correctly. If you want to challenge the mayor, the sheriff, the clerk, or the trustee, any of those positions, you can. What you can't do is you can only challenge in your district if it's a commissioner position or a constable.
That's right.
Or a school board member.
Yeah.
So if you live in District 1 and you want to challenge a District 6 school board member,
Can't do it.
you can't do it. It's got to be 3 members, 3 bona fide voters in his district to challenge it.
Yeah.
Now, I ain't calling nobody out specifically. That was just used for an example.
Right.
Before somebody blows a gasket and say, I'm calling somebody out.
Right.
God, I hate to even have to explain that.
Yeah.
Common sense should be involved here.
Yeah.
But,
That's why I had to leave my disclaimer out there.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's why I went in there and put that one in.
Yeah.
So anyway, if you guys got any questions, I will tell you this here. If you want to challenge a candidate, candidates bona fides, you are running out of time. You probably need to do this here in the next 2 to 3 days. This is the reason we have really, we wanted to get this. We were actually going to do this tomorrow night, and we didn't make an announcement for tonight. But if you want to challenge, reach out to me, and I will put you in direction of the right people. But remember, it's going to take 3. And it's just a matter of just drafting a letter, challenging it, and it will have to be emailed up. We'll get you links for that there. But just give me a buzz on it. All right. Anything else you got in closing?
No, that's it.
All right. Blake and I are out of here. You guys have a great night. At this point, we do not have any more candidates scheduled this week. So unless we get a candidate who wants to come up here, and again, we cannot force them to come up here. That's their prerogative. If they want to come up here, they can. If they don't, then they don't.
Yeah.
You know, and that's take it for what it's worth. Y'all have a great night. Thanks again for tuning in. We'll see you next time on the Hidden Agenda.